The monster trucks have come to upstate New York for some wild racing action. So put on your hard hats and roll your cameras. It's side-by-side racing coming up next. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of TNT's Monster Truck Challenge. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we're just outside Albany in upstate New York for Monster Truck Competition. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong, and this is the yearly Northeastern Tour for the Monsters.
This is the one big time that the Monsters roll into the valley in Northeast New York, and these people are pumped up. They normally get to see some tremendous racing of all kinds. As a matter of fact, Gary, this facility was voted Track of the Year a few years ago by the racers themselves. But only once a year do the Monsters roll into the valley. This is that time.
Well, this weekend at the West Lebanon Speedway, it appears to be a shootout between Bigfoot and the Equalizer.
Well, it looks that way because they're battling each other at the top of this thing, but down at the bottom, you've got some other guys that could come in and be players. One of them may just take this away, Gary.
Shootout begins momentarily. Stay with us. In the upstate New York countryside, there is plenty of this. This is original horsepower. But tonight at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, we have thousands and thousands of horsepower, monster truck variety, going side by side. We have concluded qualifying. We are ready for first round competition. There is a look at Steve Wilkie in the USA 1. This will be Chevrolet against Chevrolet as he will go up against Scott Stevens in the Auto Value King Crunch. And we have a radio hookup in the cab of that truck. Army, can you talk to Scott?
If you lose, you're one of those trucks. Scott, this is Army Armstrong again. Playing little mind games out there with this guy?
Oh, Army. Having a little bit of trouble. The throttle don't feel right.
Give me a simple yes or no. You playing mind games with the USA 1?
No, we got problems.
You can watch Steve Wilkie psyching up in the background.
Kevin, the throttle isn't working.
He's talking to Kevin Ford, the crew chief. There is Steve Wilkie psyching up.
Right down.
You're back to 100%, Scott?
Yeah.
All right, Kevin Ford rides away on the scooter. He makes the adjustment to the throttle linkage.
Gary, did you all monitor Ford's correspondence? He said everything is back to 100%.
Army, we did hear that, so now we're ready for Chevrolet against Chevrolet, but it's been a long time staging, and Steve Wilkie has been over there in the cab psyching up. All right, round one competition.
The track is a quick track. It's a fast track. We got two fast trucks. Whoa, look at this. That's only the first race of the night, and these people are pumped. Wilkie takes a very important win.
Well, that guarantees that USA 1 will be in round two, but with this 13-truck race format, the fast loser from round one will advance, so Scott Stevens could well be in the second round.
Gary, as a replay comes up, you notice what happened to Stevens at the end of the track. It hooked right violently. We're going to keep an eye on that situation. That could cause a problem later in the night.
More round one competition, Mopar Magic and Equalizer.
Equalizer, right side of the camera. He's going against the Mopar Magic, one of the few Chrysler-powered monster trucks on the circuit. And Gary Wiggins can really be a player, but he's not consistent. He makes the horsepower. He's trying to get the chassis ironed out. Meanwhile, Holbrook, just rookies, hooked up with Gary Cook out of Tennessee, and they started off in the top of the pile, and they refused to come off the point. They're still looking good wherever they go, Gary.
Almost immediately, Greg Holbrook has the advantage. He will take what I would consider to be an easy victory here.
And he didn't have any problem in the shutdown area. His suspension kept the truck straight.
Well, of course, he has the suspension. He also has the horsepower. He has them both working together, and he takes the victory. Greg Holbrook will advance. Let's go down and visit with Greg. Army?
Greg, an 8.16, and it looked quick, but we got two guys that are already running under that 8-second bracket.
Yeah, they've been running real fast. I could take it easy that time. Gary didn't have it just two-wheel drive. He rubbed the front drive shaft out in qualifying, so I took it a little easy that time.
So everything is go? I mean, you're just kind of backpedaling right now?
Yeah, we're just taking it easy on the truck and waiting until we have to get on it before we do.
He never seems to get too excited, does he?
No, this kid, if he had been born 100 years ago, been a great gunslinger, Gary.
The Thunder Chicken and the Buffalo Tremor. I love these names. I'd like to talk to these drivers and owners about how they came up with some of these names. Kid Rarig and John Kwasniewski.
Raring out of Pennsylvania, Kwasniewski out of New York. At half track, it's a dead even race.
The Thunder Chicken, the yellow Chevrolet of Kid Rarig will advance. The Thunder Chicken wins, knocking out the Buffalo Tremor. Let's look again, coming right at you. And notice, if you will, the truck on the left has a lower center of gravity. And obviously in all types of motorsports, that is advantageous. Here's your winner.
If you follow monster truck racing, you're familiar with the name Thunder Chicken and Kid Raring. Now, a lot of people don't really recognize him as a winner, but you've been knocking off some really heavy metal trucks the last couple of weeks. You're definitely for real. Are you trying to sneak into this thing?
I want to do it real bad, yeah.
The truck is running great. You're driving, I believe, harder than I've ever seen you drive, kid.
I just worked on the transmission to get it shifted a little quicker, sooner, and I think it's helping.
You're definitely going to be a player tonight. Good luck to you.
Okay.
Coming up next, well, the Pony Express with slight modification to the front doghouse.
Well, yeah, and it's really strange. That is a Mustang body. Used to monster trucks, you're used to seeing truck bodies, but Tony comes out with a Mustang body.
Pair of Fords. This is Mike Wine, the Jersey Outlaw, against the Pony Express. Round one competition here in upstate New York.
This Outlaw team of Mike White and Nick Rossi are definitely going to be hard-nosed ball player before this sport comes to an end. Look at this. Look at this.
Hang on.
Brings her back.
And the key is there, when it gets up on two wheels, to keep your foot in the throttle, allow the four-wheel drive to pull the truck out of trouble. That's exactly what Mike did.
Your natural instinct is to hit the brake. That's the worst thing to do, Gary.
How many drivers would do exactly that? Get out of the throttle, touch the brake, and that truck would roll on over. The Jersey Outlaw team just a couple of weeks ago, Army picked up a national sponsor in Super Winch, and as you well know in motorsports, money equates to horsepower. They used all that horsepower this evening, and look at this. He keeps it from rolling on over. Hang on, Mike. Let's go talk to your winner, Mike Wine.
It's a classic case where horsepower got him into trouble, but he got him out of trouble also. Mike, a little two-wheeling out there, almost high-siding out there that time.
First time I ever almost went over on the passenger side. On the driver's side, you can see and watch and power out of it. I almost power out of it too late. Thank God we got a 1,000 horsepower motor to help me.
An enthusiastic crowd awaiting round two. We're coming back. Stay with us. Postcard-like beauty here in upstate New York, but on Trucks and Tractor Power, we're not here for the beauty. We're here for the beast. The Lebanon Valley Speedway, we are ready for round two. Monster truck side-by-side competition. Here are the matchups. Bigfoot will go against Rambo, and USA 1 against the Carolina Crusher. In the other bracket, we have the fast loser from round one, King Crunch, an equalizer, and it's Thunder Chicken against the Jersey Outlaw. On your left, Andy Brass and Bigfoot. On your right, Bill Weaver Jr. and Rambo. Bill, a second-generation driver. His dad ran this truck for a while.
Yeah, but he's going against a guy that's got a whole handful of problems. Andy Brass and his crew have been trying to figure out this new chassis. So far, Gary, they have not figured it out. They're having all kind of problems with it.
This was earlier, Army, in qualifying. Now watch Andy Brass. He's going against Mike Wine, and the Jersey Outlaw actually going against the clock in qualifying. But look what happens as the chassis flexes at the end of the run. Something is not working in that chassis. Turns him right, and he almost collects the fence. Look at the fans start to move.
Yeah, the chassis is either soft, it's flexing, it's bending or something. And these guys have diligently been trying to figure it out. Now, you know that's got to be going through his mind. So far, he's had to actually hit the brakes in no man's land to get back on the throttle. The other side, this kid out of New York can make a name for himself right now if he beats Bigfoot.
Well, it's all over right there. Right from the start, it was all over. Let's see if Andy can control it here in the shutdown area. The same thing.
It's still hooking bad to the right. Now, you notice the crew chief was filming this. It's interesting. The Bigfoot crew, they film every run, and between runs, go back and actually look at the run and what the truck is doing.
Now look at this interesting camera position. Look where that camera is mounted under Bigfoot, looking at the right front suspension work. And here he cranks off to the right. Look at the sparks.
Yeah, they're trying to see what's bending and in which direction it's bending. Good camera angle here, you can watch it. Andy Brad, the truck looks like it's going straight. He is sawing the steering wheel. Now he has got a handful trying to get it shut down.
Well, here's a look at Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher out of Wadesboro, North Carolina. And he goes up against USA 1. There's a look at Steve Wilkie. Now, Wilkie has that routine that he goes through to psych up in the cockpit.
Yeah, he tries to pump himself up, and the other drivers have realized that. We talk about it on TV. They realize it, so they're trying to do things to make him do something different, to break his psyche, so to speak.
It looked like Steve was a bit tentative there at the start as Gary Porter got the advantage, and well, he hangs on. Wilkie almost came back for the victory.
And Porter hooks to the right, coming out of the same lane Bigfoot did. So maybe it's not chassis, it's track that's giving them problem. Watch the replay, Gary.
Well, keep in mind, this is an oval track. The front straightaway is slightly sloped down to the infield. That is creating a problem for all the drivers in that outside lane. There you can see the distance of victory, and here is Gary Porter.
Gary Porter took a whole shot on the starting line, but you had to drive it out the back door on this track, didn't you?
I did. I knew USA 1, he was going to be pushing his as hard as he could, and I was going to have to push mine as hard as it would run. And I just lined up real far to the right side on that first set of cars and tried to miss all the holes and, you know, in the cars and just hold on.
Well, as we talked about earlier with this 13-truck race format, the fast loser comes back in round 2. There is King Crunch on the near lane, and that is Scott Stevens, the Auto Value King Crunch out of Texas, alongside the youngster, the rookie, out of Lebanon, Tennessee, Greg Holbrook in Equalizer.
You know, look at what's happening here. Holbrook has lane choice and goes to the lane that, to me, is the bad lane. Everybody's having trouble at the finish line in that lane, but the kid goes over there anyway.
The kid has the advantage off the first set of cars, but look at this. Look at the come from behind victory by Scott Stevens. Whoa, that was horsepower.
Boy, Stevens came after him with blood in his eyes. Look at this.
Greg Holbrook had the advantage over that first set of cars, but right here, a good launch off the ramp, and Scott Stevens takes the victory.
We got it. 2-1, huh? Damn right. We're back in this thing, bud.
Indeed, they are back in. Kevin Ford talking to his driver, Scott Stevens, the fast loser from round 1, and he will advance to the final 4. Here's a look at Thunder Chicken, Kid Rarig in the bright yellow Chevrolet, and he will go up against a local favorite here, Mike Wine, the Jersey Outlaw.
Mike Wine took that wild ride on the high side earlier. Let's see what he's going to do now. Like you brought to our attention, he picked up that new sponsor. There's an old saying in motorsports, how fast do you want to go? Well, how much money do you want to spend? For the first time, Nick Rossi and Mike Wine have got some dollar bills to put in the Outlaw Ford.
And the Super Winch Outlaw will win it.
There could be some truth to that saying, Gary Lee.
We also saw some sparks off the right front suspension of Outlaw.
Now, this is a Lee Spring vehicle. This is he lost a drive shaft in the front on that run. This is an old-style monster truck here.
And there is a look at the remnants after that ride. You talk about horsepower costing money. It costs money just to maintain these. So the Jersey Outlaw is in the final 4, but can they make the necessary repairs as Bigfoot will go up against the Carolina Crusher and King Crunch against the Jersey Outlaw? That Army does not look good.
No, that's transmission. Oh, yeah, that's a hole in the transmission.
He'll not be back.
I don't believe so. So he not only lost a drive shaft and safety shields, he lost the whole transmission. But we got to go back. We've got 4 alive. Who are they going to be?
Well, Andy Brass, of course, in Bigfoot will have that far lane. That's Bigfoot 8 against Gary Porter in Carolina Crusher.
Porter put him over into that lane. He knows he's having trouble handling it.
Well, there's a look once again as the thrash continues in the pit area. Well, I don't know.
Their racers
does not look promising to me.
Their racers are going to do everything they can to be there. You never know. You don't quit in this sport. Boy, Andy Brass left like a rocket in that far lane. Now, let's see what the chassis does. Hey, it's a straight run so far, Gary. They may have figured it out.
It's a good run, but once again, he hooks just a bit, but hangs on. A good run, so perhaps they found the problem in the chassis. And now Andy Brass will advance to the championship.
They're definitely working in the right direction, aren't they, Gary?
Now, keep in mind, if the Jersey Outlaw cannot come back, King Crunch would be in the championship against Bigfoot. Crunch has staged the Outlaw now with 5 minutes to make the necessary repairs and present himself. Here's Andy Brass.
Andy, all night long, you and your crew chief have been going back and tweaking the truck, fine-tuning, and it's going straight as an arrow for you now.
That's right. You know, Donnie and I, we've been working all week on the truck. We've been having a lot of problems at pulling to the right. We think we got it under control tonight, though. so we've just been lining up on the line and pulling it, and it's been working pretty straight. We're having to work at it, but it's been doing us a good job.
Have any preference to who you want to go against in the final, or does it make any difference to this type of competition?
It don't really make any difference right now.
Well, we get to talk to Andy Brass, a popular driver. Here's a chance for a fan to ask Andy Brass a question.
I have a question for Andy Brass of Bigfoot. How long did it take to put your truck together?
Thanks for the question, Bobby. It took about 8 months to build Bigfoot 8. The big thing was the design of the truck. It took about 3 months to design the truck, then roughly 3 more months in building the truck, and then we took about 2 months of just testing the truck, make sure it was going to work before we brought it out here on the circuit.
The time continues to tick away as work continues under the Jersey Outlaw. Mike Wine looking on, and staged is the Auto Value King Crunch of Scott Stevens out of Woodland, Texas. Now, once again, we had that radio hookup. Army, see if you can visit with Scott.
Scott, you've done this for many years. You've been in this position before. You're going to give this guy every chance he can get up there and race against you. You want to win at racing, right?
Exactly. You know, he's been running really good tonight. Like I said, I know if he can get to the line, he's still going to give us a good run. And I feel kind of bad about pulling up here. Like I said, we tried to play around in our pits as long as we could. And the official come back there and said he's going to put us on the clock. So, you know, we had to come to the line. We did all we could for him.
You know, Gary, that shows you what a class operation these Auto Value and Scott Stevens is.
Well, here comes the Jersey Outlaw. Now, I'm not sure he has four-wheel drive. That may only be two-wheel drive, but Mike Wine will make a showing.
Gary, you're exactly right. He has rear-wheel drive only. What happened, the scenario on the situation right now, the front drive shaft came out, went up, smacked the transmission pan. All they did was change transmission pans, pull one off another vehicle, put it on his. So Scott actually did help this man get to the line. But watch for this guy to drive. It's almost like tonight he's driving possessed. His girlfriend's here pulling for him. So, you know, it could be a miracle run, Gary.
Tracy Lowry, that is Mike Wine's girlfriend, arms were crossed, but look at this enthusiasm. She's going to run down the track with him.
Hey, Gary, look at this race. Mike Wine's going to take him to the wall.
Scott Stevens wins by a fender, but what a great showing by Mike Wine, the Jersey Outlaw, with only two-wheel drive, and he took Scott right to that finish line.
You know, it was a miracle run because I'll guarantee you, I did not expect that. Oh, Mike Wine has just got a lot of pride, and he's not going to roll over for anybody. He wasn't going to let Stevens walk into that next round. He was going to make him earn it.
And Scott goes over, grabs the helmet, a hearty handshake, and this large crowd voices their approval. A job well done by the driver and the crew of the Jersey Outlaw. He may be on the sideline now, but what an effort. What an effort by Mike Wine, and he's down there to talk to Army Armstrong.
Well, Mike Wine, if nothing else, you made a whole lot of friends in Lebanon Valley, New York. Everybody was pulling for you. I think Scott was even kind of leaning your way.
We tried our best. I went out, as you know, the last round, run a Thunder Chicken, throw the front drive shaft, took out transmission pan, front drive shaft, front everything. Came back. Buffalo trimmer, whole crew was there. Even Scott's crew was there to lend me a hand. I got to thank Gary Cook. He loaned me the case of oil. Gary Porter loaned me some gear oil. My crew chief, I got to thank him. Also, I got to thank Tony Express. He's the one to help me get it all back together.
We are ready now for the championship shootout with Bigfoot and King Crunch coming up next. Stay with us. For the beauty of upstate New York, but these monster truck drivers are not concerned with beauty. They have tunnel vision. They are looking at the finish line, wanting a championship here in New York. We're at the Lebanon Valley Speedway in West Lebanon, New York, for the final shootout between Bigfoot and King Crunch.
Well, Gary, when we went to break, the graphic on the screen said it's going to be the Battle of the Blues Brothers. Well, there's a difference. One of them's a Ford, one of them's a Chevrolet, so that tells you immediately you've got a rivalry.
Let's see if we can tap into the King Crunch radio.
All right, right there, straight back. Hey, Kevin Ford, you said right there. What are you looking at? You're sitting right behind him on a motorcycle. What does right there mean?
Well, we're trying to line up as far right of the cars as we can, because everybody that's running on that, you know, far left-hand side of these cars is getting a real bad bounce right there in the middle. And that run against Equalizer, we had a nice, smooth run. That's what we're trying to get again.
Ford against Chevrolet, Bigfoot, King Crunch.
They said it was going to be the Battle of the Blues Brothers. What we're going to find out is who's the devil with the blue dress on.
Right now, it looks like the Ford indeed. Bigfoot will take the victory here. Bigfoot. And it looked like Scott Stevens got in trouble coming off that first set of cars. As we'll look again, Donnie Kessel, the crew chief, a very happy crew chief there. His truck has won here this evening, but let's take another look. To me, it looked like the race was over the first set of cars.
Yeah, when Stevens comes off the first set, he is in trouble. Meanwhile, the left of the screen, Bigfoot, they have solved the problem. Gary, that final run looked like he was on a railroad track.
One last look here as Andy Brass and Bigfoot 8, the tube-frame race truck, takes the victory over the Chevrolet, the Auto Value King Crunch. And this is the time when the fans come out to meet their favorite drivers. Before we turn Andy Brass loose, though, to visit his fans, let's get a few comments with our victor.
Andy, a long time coming, but tonight is the night you were looking for. Your competitors were not. It looks like you guys finally got a handle on this truck.
That's right. You know, I got to have a lot of thanks to my crewman, Donnie. He's been working with me all week here on the truck. We've been having a lot of problems, but I think we finally got the acclaimed Ford Bigfoot to run real good this week.
Well, that'll wrap it up. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news about an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports. It's time to shake, battle, and roll. Call 1-800-453-2800 for 70 minutes of awesome air-grabbing rooster tail spring action from the worlds of monster truck racing, truck and tractor pulling, and mud bogging. Relive the great moments of thrilling side-by-side monster truck racing. Feel the ground shake from the raw power of truck and tractor pulling. And get down and dirty as the best mud racers battle the slime for the fastest time. All this incredible action on one video cassette just by calling 1-800-453-2800. That's 1-800-453-2800. Strap up for a ride on the wild side. It's time to shake, battle, and roll.